As a little girl, I've always been outspoken, so I felt a sense of love from both of my parents, my mom and my dad. I was the type of person, I would tell you where to go and how fast to get there, so I never held back. If there was something on my mind, I just said it. Oftentimes, I didn't think too much before I would say something. If I just saw something, I just basically told it like it was. I've always had dreams throughout my life. I think when I went away to college, I shied away from my dream. So my focus was off and I was just more concentrated on having fun and partying. After I became pregnant, a lot of my friends from the university, they shied away from me because it wasn't cool being in college and being pregnant. So that's when I decided to move back home to Maryland, and my life did change drastically. I couldn't be carefree anymore. I couldn't sleep in anymore. I had to start taking care of a human being. I felt a great sense of shame and disappointment. I felt like I had let my family down, my parents, but especially I felt like I had let myself down because the whole purpose of me going to college was to get an education and also have that cultural experience. I just think that I took it to the extreme and I didn't have any balance in my life. That relationship amazingly started going bad really after 4 months after meeting that individual. But I was so infatuated with what I thought I wanted, and I was yearning for someone to love me. I was in love with the idea of getting married and being in love with someone. Even after just 4 short months into the relationship, there were red signals, there were flags and indicators. It took me close to 6 years to get out of that relationship. I was amazed that things that I said I would never do. I've often heard people say never. Things that I said I would never tolerate, being cheated on, being lied to, being called out of my name. I endured all of that. The children are a blessing, so I count that part of the experience joy. But the turning point for me was that after creating life with someone, that person not growing up and being matured and handling their responsibilities by their children, they didn't want to get a job. They didn't want to go out and do the necessary things that adults do to take care of their family. So that was the turning point. My family knew that I would drink. We would go to social events, we would have social gatherings at the house. They knew that I was starting to drink more and more. They did not know about the anxiety and the depression. That was something that I was hiding. I've been in at least 3 or 4 car accidents that were related to me drinking and then getting behind a steering wheel. So for many reasons, it's a miracle that I'm still alive today. So my family, they became aware of some of the accidents. They knew that alcohol was involved. That was when, okay, my parents started, especially my mom, telling me that there's something going on here. I was on a ventilator machine and I did not think that I was going to make it out of that experience alive. And that's really when things started clicking in my head. I started looking at my life as I was lying in that bed pregnant and I couldn't speak. I had a feeding tube in me. I had a tube that went all the way down to my lungs. I said, Monique, you haven't done anything with your life. You haven't done anything great. What is your legacy going to be? I had already birthed 2 children. I was pregnant with my 3rd child. If I did not make it out of that experience, what would my children be able to say about their mom? And it is a whole new life, because I'm living life one day at a time, cherishing each moment, but not having my mindset altered by alcohol. The foundation of Right Way Living, it's a coaching and consulting business. It coaches individuals from brokenness to wholeness, and it also consults with businesses or individuals that might have the idea about starting their own business, but they have nowhere to start. What I'm most passionate about is helping people come up with creative ways to fund their own business. Out of that publishing company, I have published my own books. I have other authors, 2 of which are children, and they have published books. One of the books is titled 25 Businesses Kids Can Start for Under $500, and it teaches entrepreneurship, it teaches money management, and it also gives a list of 25 businesses that kids can start. The other author, which is also a child, his book is titled How to Become a Kid Entrepreneur. Why choose one when you can become all 3? I've had to reinvent myself several times coming into my new life. And by moving forward, you don't get stuck in the past. And that prevents a lot of people from fulfilling their destiny. I heard 2 loud booms, and I felt the house move. And I said to myself, I don't know what has just happened, but this is not right. I immediately got out of bed, and I went to look out of the window, and I looked to the right, and it was just like lit up. The sky was lit up. I looked to the left, and my mom's car was engulfed in flames. And it was something out of a movie. Losing that safe haven, losing that sanctuary that I had become accustomed to celebrating life with my family and my parents and my friends. I didn't think that my parents would be able to endure that. And so my fear was also, I thought first I was going to lose my mind. And then second, I thought one of them were just going to fall out dead or something. I looked at it as a major setback, and I thought about it, but then I started praying. I started having conversations with God and myself, and I said, no, Monique, you do what you did in the beginning of your journey 5 years ago. You study, you pray, you meditate, you journal. The biggest thing for me is the writing. Whenever I write, it releases something from me, and it heals me.
My name is Aliana Hines. I'm 9 years old and I flip houses. Me and my cousin have made $323,000.
So Junior Flips is a business that is owned by children, started by children, originally not funded by children, but now the children do fund some of their projects. The age range is 5 to 15 years old. It's 6 children, 3 of which are my children. My niece is involved and my nephew is involved, and we also mentor other children within the community. The children find, buy, and renovate old houses, and they sell them for profit on the housing market. We do have a team of electricians and plumbers who come in and do the HVAC. And then the children, once the walls are up, they come in and they do the cosmetics side. I have learned to deal with life. And I've learned to deal with it without any vices. There's a difference between recovering. If I was to say, I'm recovering from alcoholism. No, I've been delivered. I no longer have a desire. I've learned how to love myself for who I am with my imperfections. And I've learned how to love others in the process.
When she gave me a copy of the book, I was reading it because I needed to read it. But as I read it, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to read this book when I have my quiet time to myself. Because there were messages in the scriptures that were resonating to me.
I've always had a voice. I just used it in the wrong way. I used to use my voice to tear people down and discredit them. Now I use my voice for greatness. I use my voice to empower others. Living in Right Way Publishing is my excuse. What's yours?